Hi, folks. This is Kurt Gronowski, your friendly real estate agent who happens to work for Berkshire Hathaway right here in the office. So here it is. It's Saturday. It's January 26th. It's about 4:40 in the afternoon for me. Anyway, there's an article that I just finished. I wanted to talk about it with you for a minute. And it's based upon a Reddit post that I saw. So you bought a house. Well, how much did you have in cash reserves? It's an important question. It's a question where the lenders certainly query you and they need to see certain amounts in order to be comfortable with accepting your application. That said, so the Reddit post read like this. People who bought 1 million plus houses, how much in savings did you have left after down payment purchase? I'm interested in seeing how much of their assets these people were comfortable with parking in their house. Okay, so um, my first reaction was his use of the word comfortable, because by the examples that I put in this article, there are 10 of them. Um, you get the sense that people had made a decision to buy this house and they're going to do whatever they have to do to get it. And you'll see by those examples. Now, in looking at this, I started to ask questions about, well, what about people with lower incomes? I mean, what are you looking at here? Because what occurred to me is as you get to lower income levels, the ratio of fixed to discretionary income starts to tighten up, and how much you have left for reserves gets that much tougher to manage. So, as a rule of thumb, lenders will say on the low end, they're looking for 1 to 2 months of reserve cash to handle mortgage payments. And on the high end, that would be 18 months. So, if you took as an example, um, a $200,000 mortgage for a 30-year fixed loan at 7%, your average monthly payment is going to be $1,300. So, at the 1 to 2 month cash reserve range, you're looking at $2,500 to $4,000, and then at the high end, you're looking at around $25,000. Now, a $200,000 mortgage, you're expected to have about a $65,000 income. That 24,000 seems a little bit tough to hit. So let's talk about the middle ground. I'd say we're probably looking at 5 to 6 months of reserves for somebody in, say, $65,000 per year income range. And for that, it would be good to have around $10,000 in reserves. And that would seem to make sense. Okay, so that's a model if we're looking at the low end. So let me just throw out some other data here that has to do with um, sort of the background concerning lower income. The first thing is you hear it all the time, it'll be brought up. There's a shocking number of people who live from paycheck to paycheck. And it turns out that in 2023 in America, it was 57% of Americans who are living from paycheck to paycheck. Shocking. Well, by the time we get to 2025 now, that number has grown to 68%. It's over two-thirds of Americans who are living from paycheck to paycheck. That sounds pretty bad. Yet, let me add the other data point that when you look at home ownership, 65% of Americans own a home, 35% are renters. Okay, so that means a substantial number of those homeowners are holding on to their homes, living from paycheck to paycheck. Somehow they're doing it. It's remarkable. With that, the other thing to keep in mind is that when you look at foreclosure and bankruptcy data, they're within historical averages. So, it is tough, but somehow people are doing it. Okay, so let me jump now to just a couple of quick examples here, and then we are done. So, first one here, the person responded by saying, I made a $200,000 down payment on a $950,000 home. I had $50,000 left in cash savings and $500,000 in investments and retirement accounts. 3 years later, we were at $800,000 in investments and a $100,000 emergency fund. Okay, that's pretty good. If you a $300,000 increase in 3 years, I'd say that sounds like pretty good investing. Still, you get the sense when you look at this that they seem to have cut it kind of close, and they just trusted that they could rebuild their account. Another example, we had $1 million or so, but that's retirement money, and we didn't want to touch it. We spent basically every penny of cash we had on the house, and we haven't had to touch our savings. But we pay nearly $9,000 a month in mortgage, so we can't save a ton anymore. Okay, this is pretty close to what we would call an example of a house rich, cash poor situation. And especially if they're not going to touch their savings, they've really, and as they shouldn't, they've put themselves in a very tough position. And let me just use one more here. This one I think is interesting. So here they said they needed a $5,000 gift from their parents for closing costs. LOL. Our estimate was $5,000 off. But that was also spring of 2021 when our winning bid was $160,000 above the asking price after 3 rounds of bidding. They say we had no idea where we were going to land. Well, thank God we got it, because we would be well priced out of our neighborhood by now, which is true. We did see a phase where housing prices just really jacked up in a very short period of time. So this is a peculiar example of taking a risk, right? Because they played it to the hilt to the extent they had to get a $5,000 gift to handle closing costs, and managed to come out on the other side of this quote. Okay, well, anyway, so should you get a hold of this article, you'll see more examples. And I guess one other quick point I want to make is that these people, there were no examples in the 232 comments that I saw that constituted crash and burn situations. So these are people who, some of whom have a very high tolerance for risk. Maybe sometimes that's what it takes. Anyway, in the meantime, here's my card. If you want to get in touch with me and you want to ask for the article or talk with me or have me help you list a property, I'm the guy. I'm the guy. All right. So for that, now, thank you very much, and I hope to be talking with some of you.